So here we have a woodpecker nest cavity in a tree that was likely killed. It looks like the top may have broken out. I'm not exactly sure if it was killed by beetles while it was standing or while it was alive, or if the top broke out and then the beetles came. But we also see here this large pitch mass. And this is from a species that we have not yet covered in class, but it is on your required species list. And that species is the Sequoia pitch moth. And the Sequoia pitch moth is a clear-winged moth. And what that means is it has, translucent see-through wings, much like a wasp. And in fact, the Sequoia pitch moth is a yellow jacket or hornet mimic. Inside this pitch mass, we can find, you can't really see it very well, but we can find where the moth burrowed out, where the larvae pupated and then burrowed out and exited, and then they typically lay their eggs back on the pitch mass and reinfect. And this is a pathogen of nuisance is the best way to define that. And what that means is they typically do not kill ponderosa pine. However, in ornamental landscape situations, if you prune pines during the time of year when the moth is active, the moth will attack those pruning wounds where green limbs have been pruned and will begin feeding and will produce copious quantities of this pitch. It will drip onto sidewalks, it will drip onto cars. It can make trees vulnerable to fire. If they become ignited, that pitch will burn like gasoline or kerosene and kill the tree, and I've actually seen that happen in Bend. And so it is a little bit of a problem in an ornamental setting. Out here in the forest, we don't worry much about Sequoia pitch moth except to recognize what it is so that we don't confuse it with other pathogens such as the red turpentine beetle. The woodpecker cavity here is indicative of one of the ecological roles of the root disease and the bark beetles, which is to kill trees and make available places for cavities. And of course, root diseases don't make good snags because they typically don't stand for very long. So a woodpecker did cut a hole in this and was able to use it for at least one nesting season, and then the tree fell over.